I'm going to show you why this is probably Whirlpool's worst design ever and how I fixed it for about 20 bucks.
My freezer has been making loud noises for years. You can hear this fan in the background. It is super loud and annoying. The temperature keeps going up, and I lost a couple of loads of food out of it before I bought this alarm from Amazon to include in here, and I'll link to that down below. But this is a 2007 Whirlpool freezer, and this is the simple part that I ordered to replace inside the freezer so that we wouldn't have this happen again. And Whirlpool went above and beyond this time, adding an extra clip to the front of the fan so that the same problem doesn't happen again. I'm going to show you everything about the issue that I was having and what they did to fix it. But first you'll need a 5/16 inch nut driver and you'll need a Phillips head screwdriver. I love this DeWalt handheld screwdriver. It works really well for me.
You should unplug your freezer before you start this. I left mine plugged in because I wanted to show you how loud the condenser fan is, or at least that's the excuse that I'm using right now. Maybe I was just too lazy to unplug it and I knew exactly what I needed to take off. But you should unplug your freezer before you get started.
You'll have to take out the drawer, a couple of shelves, and all the food out in order to get to these 4 screws to unscrew this panel in the back of the freezer. And once you get that done, you can pull the panel out. There's a small grounding clip on it. You can leave that on or pull it out. I also recommend unplugging it before you start. I left mine plugged in just to show you what the noise was like, and I was able to unplug the fan to reduce any risk that's inside of there. But you can see this fan has cut into, over the years, from the nuts that actually come out on the motor housing. This fan slides up and down on the shaft, and it had slid down so far that sometimes it slides down and it actually gets blocked by the nuts that are on there, and they don't spin and rotate freely.
This is such a stupid, simple fix that should have been incorporated in the design years ago. I'm not sure why they ever thought that putting a plastic blade with a clamp on it around the end of the shaft wasn't ever going to adjust over time. So even designing this without a stop on the end of it, just that makes absolutely no sense to me.
The fan itself has lost a blade, and the blades have been cut into so badly by those nuts over the years that there's not much fan left, and the efficiency of it cooling hasn't worked as well. The new fan has a clip on the end of it and a little tab over it to make sure that the fan doesn't slide down the shaft anymore like it used to. Inside of this is the evaporator fan. All that does is push air up through the back of the freezer through a channel to make sure that air from the coils is evenly distributed throughout the shelves. I'm not a freezer repair person, but this is a pretty simple fix to get in there for this particular freezer and replace this evaporator fan. All you gotta do is slide the new fan on the top and clip the clamp that's on the end of it. You gotta kind of compress that a little bit to make sure it's good and tight on there. Go ahead and screw it back in and plug the fan back in. Make sure that there's no obstructions around the fan housing anymore and that it's set out to the end. Once you get that done, you can put the panel back on. Make sure that you put that ground clip back on the metal panel that goes back in the back of your freezer again, and then line it up to put your 4 screws into the plastic inserts that are on the inside. This should be a pretty simple fix. It shouldn't take more than 10 or 15 minutes. The fan was maybe 22 bucks, or I think you can get it even cheaper if you're not in a hurry for it from Amazon, 10, 15 bucks. I'll link to a fan down below, and you can see the temp drop as soon as I get this fan in there. It took a couple of hours to get from the 30s back down to around 0 where freezers normally like to sit.
This is a pretty simple fix and a design flaw that never should have happened in the first place. But for 20 bucks, you can fix the problem and never have to worry about it again. Just go ahead, put it back together, watch that temperature drop back down to the bottom as the evaporator fan pulls that cool air over the coils and throughout the rest of the freezer. If you like this kind of content, I make this stuff all the time. Please like and subscribe for more.